I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. I'm breaking through.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Business Renovator. I'm your host, Coach Phil. Mastering your destination through cool persistence. Is it possible? I don't know, but our guest knows. I'm looking forward to having Marsh come up here and share some wisdom. But before we do that, if you're watching us live, thanks for being here, much appreciated. And if you're catching it on the replay, we welcome that as well. And just let us know with hashtag replay. If you have a question you want to throw at us, some feedback, bouquets, we would appreciate hearing all of that. It makes the show better. And if you have somebody in mind that you think would be a great guest, make an introduction. Let's talk to them and get their story out. You just never know what message is going to resonate and land with somebody that could make a difference. I've had numerous people give feedback as to how a guest comment, thought, idea helped them in their own life, in their business, etc. So this show is all about sales, marketing, and mental fitness. Some would call it mindset. And it's about a conversation with myself and the guests. But before I bring on our wonderful guest, I want to do a shameless plug. This is the marketing part of what I do. So here it is, shameless plug. Great news that if you want to do your business growth score, you just go to the website, coachphil.ca. In the top corner, you'll see a button. Click on that and answer the questions, and you'll get some insight as to where you are at in terms of your business growth score. If you, and oh, by the way, it's no credit card required, it's complimentary. And if you would like to have a 20-minute coaching conversation in and around what it all means, you're welcome to do that as well. Just send us an email letting us know. And when I say us, my guest is one of Focal Point coaches too. So maybe one of us resonates better with you than the other. And we'd both be happy to have a complimentary 20-minute coaching session with you. But you just can do the growth score and go from there. So I want to get on with the rest of the show here. So Marcial Dumlao is first generation Filipino authentic speaker, certified focal point business and executive coach, as I am, what I was telling you about. Now, the thing where makes him different, he's really cool in his own right. He's proud U.S. Naval Academy graduate. He draws on his own experience leading military and cross-functional teams to offer actionable insights on achieving success. And we've got him on the show today. He served as a U.S. naval officer for 24 years, achieving rank of commander, and as a senior federal service civilian for 15 years. He has a book. He's an author. We're going to give that a bit of a plug later on in the show as well. But we'll talk about it a little bit here. I forgot to ask him how to say that. I think it's Kadima. Mastering your destination through cool persistence provides practical guidance on clarifying your purpose, setting ambitious goals, and finding balance in life. With a positive and informal style, he encourages his audiences and customers, clients, and peers to move forward and pursue their dreams. Without any more time on the introduction or me talking, let me bring him on up. Marsh, you're coming on board, buddy. Oh, look at that. See, we danced.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Hey, thanks for taking time to be in on the show today, and appreciate your sharing some wisdom. We had a pretty good chat in the green room, pre-show chat, and there are a lot of great things that came out of that about attitude expectations and challenges, and some of the people, some of the horrific things that show up in life are actually gifts. But
Yes.
anything you'd like to start off with, Marsh?
Oh, well, Kadima, actually, that's the title of the book. Kadima means moving forward, and what I've looked at, and based on my experience, is that even if you think you're done, you're not done, right? You just keep moving forward. Take that one step forward. I was an intramural boxer at the Naval Academy, and learning boxing and things like that. You know, you do get beat up a little bit, but you know, you get back up and you take that one step forward. You know, there's that. I think it was in Creed. It says, you know, one punch, one step forward, one punch, one step forward. And so that has been my mantra actually in the Navy, right? You just keep moving forward, and regardless of what's before you, you know, any obstacle, you either go around it, go above it. Maybe you don't have to go through it, right? But find out why it's there, and those are all opportunities to excel, right? Take advantage of those opportunities.
I love the way you describe that, and the energy and passion. It's not, you're authentic. It's not just smoke and mirrors. It's reality.
Yeah.
I'm feeling it through the virtualness of this.
Well, you know, it wasn't, you know, all roses, right? I mean, that's the thing. It's 24 years, and I love the men and women that I served with, and also the mentors that I've had that have been doing the same thing. You know, yep, we're faced with certain obstacles. How do we get through it? How do we get around it? How do we go over it?
Exactly. Where did that word come from, Kadima?
Actually, it's a Hebrew term. It means moving forward, and that's where I got it from. I do study a lot of scripture, and I have gone to the Holy Land about 10 times, and looked and studied, and again, it's a journey of just moving forward, taking one step. Once you take one step, that view is different, right? You walk out the door, your view is different. You're not inside the house, you're outside now, right? So just one step forward, even in business. You know, sometimes we feel stuck in business. Like, I want to get to that next level, or, you know, I'm not getting hired into clients. And you know, too, that when we go through, like the Think and Grow Rich, you had mentioned that in our green room talk with Napoleon Hill, he talks about, you know, the prospector, and about how 3 feet from gold he stopped.
Yeah.
Right. So, and that resonated with me. It's like, yep, well, yeah, we're just 3 feet away, you know, so let's just keep moving.
All right, we have a guest here. Let's just recognize that Eric's here. The hardest step is always the first one.
That's right.
You know, that reminds me of something. Thanks for that, Eric, and good morning. I know you're in a different part of the world than me. You're in Oklahoma, and I'm not anywhere near that. I'm in the frosty land of Canada. And it's not frosty here, boys and girls, but, you know, a couple of weeks ago, there was snow in the mountains, and I don't live in the mountains. Anyway, this reminds me, the hardest step is always the first step. What that reminds me of, Marsh, is I used to run a networking group, and I bring in speakers, much the same as what I do here, except for it was live and in person. The internet hadn't been released to us yet. So this was just not even in anybody's imagination, probably. Anyway, we had a guy that came, and through the power of networking, asking for help, if you know what you want, why you want it, stifle the how, persist, one step forward. I was fortunate to have a Canadian climber of Mount Everest. Wow. And one of the stories he shared with us was, it's not, people think that the goal is to get to the summit. That's one. The real goal is to come back.
Oh, yes.
If you're climbing that kind of a mountain, the things I learned from Jamie Clarkson was the story that there was one of the climbers that was part of his team, and he promised his daughter we'd come back, but he gave up at the top of the summit. He was going to die. He resigned to, I can't make it down. So they had a satellite phone, and they got her on the phone and she talked him down the mountain. So like you said, it's always one step forward, one more punch, right?
Yep.
It's finding some reason why. You talk about your book is about purpose. They created the purpose in that moment, and the purpose changed from the purpose was to get on the mountain, come down, but he started to resign and die. So they had a new purpose it's to get this guy down. So they did by using any strategy they could.
Yes.
That's what that reminded me of.
Yes. Actually, too, Viktor Frankl, wrote on his book too
Right.
about that. That the people that did survive that event that he wrote about in the Holocaust, had a purpose, a future purpose, and a mission that drove him forward.
Yeah. Another fine American who's since gone, Zig Ziglar, said it in different sort of way, but the same sort of thing. How does it go? It goes, you don't want to be a wandering generality. You want to be a meaningful specific. And what he was getting at that is just like what we're talking here. What's your purpose? What's your why? What's your major definite purpose? That's one thing that I integrate in our coaching. We're affiliated with Brian Tracy, and that's part of the Your Best doctrine, right? Where we talk about that a lot.
And I think that's very appropriate too for businesses and organizations, right? When we look at change management, sometimes the challenge is that we go ahead straight into changing without going back to that purpose and vision as to why we are changing or why we are transforming. So I think purpose is number one, even in some of the other curriculum, our TTI Success Insights talk about those priorities that the ideal or priority for an organization is to have purpose, people, pace, perception, and then profit, right? So those 5 in line. It doesn't mean that, if they're a little bit out of order, you're automatically going to fail. No, it just means that there are certain consequences that if they are out of order. But they generally looked at a population of successful businesses, and they've actually outlined that clarity of purpose is number one.
I got to click a button here to bring myself back into the airways. There we go. I was here the whole time in the back.
Okay.
They're giving you the focus on that. Yeah, purpose is the driving force. Like I was introduced to the concept of a whole bunch of great ideas, complicated psychological language put into plain English so people like me could understand it. And one of the ones is if you know what you want and why you want it, that's your purpose and your mission. Stifle the how and go forward with confidence.
Exactly.
And don't give up. I've tested that out numerous times. And some of the things I was looking for, I was actually one time I was trying to get a computer for free. Different. I'll tell you a reason why later in another show. We don't have time for that. But that was my goal. And I wanted to test out the hypothesis around if you know what you want, why you want it, and stifle the how, and move forward with confidence. Anything can happen. Well, I got laughed at, but it didn't matter because I was so on purpose attempting to identify whether what was the outcome of my hypothesis. I wasn't going to let one person or two people define what my result would be. I needed a larger collective of data so that I could make the decision. And what I found out was that if you pursue, you're going to be naysayers. People are going to try and talk you out of it because they don't have the same vision, drive, or purpose that you do. And when you have your own purpose and you're on a mission to do something, you can make shit happen. Just like this theme song for this show is all about. It's what I'm all about is help you get more stuff done. Yep.
I agree. And yesterday actually had the honor as sitting in a conference where Vince Papale of the Eagles, he was a guest speaker, and how he was a walk-on and able to bring that heart back and bring that the Philadelphia Eagles back in the 70s as a team. And he did talk about that. You have your dream and you need a team to make the dream work. The thing is that team is very positive, right? They're there for you. Surround yourself with those folks that are going to lift you up and elevate you and are in lockstep with, yep, if you want to do this, then go for it, right? Don't say why not, just go, just do it, right? That's your dream, go for it.
So in your role as a leader in a variety of different spaces, and you've made it up to some very significant levels, was your experience that you had to have superstars on the team, the whole team of superstars, or was there a collaboration of people that weren't superstars superstars, but they had a belief and drive in themselves, and they were willing to, even where their flaws, move forward, and that's together they were more successful. Or do you need a team of superstars?
No, I don't think a team of superstars, when you look at superstars, I guess the reference point that I use is that everybody part of the team has their talent, their specific talent as to why they're there. They have to have that attitude. I think the attitude is the most important thing. The one that has the drive or the persistence to succeed is the one that's going to bring the team together, right? It's not necessarily the best person that can run the mile in 5 minutes and everybody has to run the mile in 5 minutes. It's everybody pulling together, right? Each has a purpose. And I think that's what makes a business successful, is that when you put a team together, even as an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, right? If some of us are just in our own business, we still have a team, right? We do have to recognize, and I think a couple of months ago when I was listening actually to your podcast, I mentioned that a business is all about specialization and cooperation, right? So we're good at what we do. Well, we stay in our lane because we're good at what we do. And the stuff that we're not good at, then we may need to cooperate, outsource, or to establish and build those relationships with other businesses and other people to help us succeed. Because when we succeed, they succeed.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I
That
think.
That was a bit of a trick question on my part, and you answered it the way I thought you would. I experienced that, all of what we just talked about, not in the military, but being a coach of a hockey team. And we didn't have the best players on where I live. We divided them up into, we drafted and had 3 teams, and took some of the best, some of them in the middle, some were up and coming, and you worked together as a cohesive group and built up their confidence and their self-esteem and believing in the team and the vision and the purpose why we're here. Each one of them played for their own reason, but together they had a commonality. And that commonality, we were able to get to the finals. We were able to win some tournaments that were prestigious tournaments to win and be part of. And so it's a cohesive group of individuals working together in a common way. Culture, that's a hot topic these days.
Right. That culture in when I talked about those the TTISI, they talk about purpose, people, pace, perception, and profit. That perception module, or the perception category, where people are allowed to innovate, right? They feel safe when they want to create their voice their ideas, concerns, and also allowed to innovate at a certain pace. Right. And then the pace part of it is, sometimes you may go too fast. A leader can move fast, way fast, that what happens is that they may leave the other people behind. And so there has to be a pace that has to be set, where, you do have to harmonize that work and life, that you can't just go full bore 24/7 and establish that goal. There has to be a pace set. And you can be too slow as a leader, right? That, you do have to make decisions. So there should be harmonizing with that.
Yeah. I've been following a fairly well-known coach, Dan Sullivan with Strategic Coach. They have their own company and their own thing. I guess you could say they're competitors of ours. But what I find is we don't really compete with each other. Different coaches bring different value propositions to the marketplace, and everybody could benefit by coaching. They just have to find the right one. And one of the things he talks about, he's all about having time off days. And right now he's 155 days off a year, and he's very successful. And it reminded me of something of a mentor that I had met way back, I don't know, 4.5 decades ago. And he talked about the importance of recreation. So recreation, but I hyphenate it, because we need to take time out away from the daily hard grind to go and do something totally different. And what comes out of that is you get creative, you get energized, you get new ideas, you solve problems that you thought you had. Now you've got different ways to do it. all sorts of cool and interesting things happen. Like there's a story about the fly. I don't know if you know it or not. It's by Richard Price in his book U Squared. I'll do a real quick version of it. We've all seen flies in our homes or offices, and they're trying to escape. And they're not trying to find the open window or the open door. They forgot that's how they got in. They're bashing themselves up against the big piece of glass that's quite a bit more durable than they are. And they're buzzing around, bang, right? And next thing you know, if we haven't eradicated them or captured and let them out, whatever we do, we often find them dead on the windowsill. So what Pritchett talks about, it's not about doing it hard. It's about putting effort in, but intelligent effort, leveraging people, ideas, resources, other people's monies, strategies, and tactics. Don't work hard because you'll be like the fly. It doesn't have the critical mass to break the glass. So be creative, find an alternative, change your trajectory, find a mentor, find a coach, read a book,
Right.
podcast, right?
Right. I think you hit it where, you have that mastermind group, or whether they're mentors, coach facilitating that. Napoleon Hill talks about maybe no more than 5 people, that get together and brainstorm, or at least put together the thoughts. Again, a different perspective on that. And so I think that's very valuable when you do surround your people with that. And you mentioned the mountain climbing, right? About the positive self-talk, right? Sometimes we just say, no way, no how, not ever. And that's challenging because we're always taught no. Right? When we're growing up, that the whole outside world says no, what do you want to do that for? No. And then we get used to that. And the challenge is to break that paradigm and to say, you know what, one step forward. Yep, I'm going to take this mountain and I'm going to go one step forward. Who can help me? Right. Yeah. And then surround yourself with those folks who can help you.
So shifting to be open and receptive and welcome no's, because in the no, there's the lessons and there's a yes hidden in there somewhere.
That's right. Right. And I think, sometimes, people mean well. And I think that's the other part is that you have to understand that too, that sometimes your close friends mean well, they just want you safe. And the thing about it is that, yes, you just have to look at that and say, yeah, take that to account. The thing is, you do have to move forward because it's you, right? This is your purpose in life. You are here for a purpose, and you're here to do great things, right? My mantra when I talk to folks is, you know what? I'm not going to thrust greatness upon you. We need to draw the greatness that's already inside you, right? That's the key, is that everybody has greatness in them. And as a business leader or as a business coach, what's that drawing out of that greatness in that solopreneur, that entrepreneur, that sales team that's going to make them great? Yeah. Right. Because they all have it. They're there for a reason. And we just got to draw that out. Right.
Absolutely. Every oak tree was once an acorn.
That's right.
Right.
Right. Right.
And we can't see the tree and the acorn until the energy from the earth shows up, nutrients, fluids, water, and it starts to get roots, and it starts to grow into the great oak tree. Now, oak tree's not very good on an island in the South Pacific. It's too windy, right? So not a good thing to be, but not in that climate. That's fascinating what you're talking about. So with regards to your book, let me throw that up here so people can see what the cover looks like. It should be here momentarily. Bring this to the screen. There it is. That's the cover of the book. Give us a 45-second high level.
Sure. Master your destiny through cool persistence. First, let's look at cool persistence. That term was coined, or at least used, by Abraham Lincoln when he was describing Ulysses Grant. Actually, that he won a lot of battles, done a lot of things, did this, but he accomplished these things. And it's interesting because he said he wasn't from a pedigree of, or a pedigree that rich or anything else from that background. He was just an average person. And the thing is that what Abraham Lincoln said is that, but he accomplished all this through cool persistence, right? And it's just the moving forward, assessing. And so what Kadima does is find out what your purpose is, dream big, put an action plan together, and take the first steps, and then reassess, right? Just take one step at a time. And that journey, in our journey in life, and I think all of us can look back, it's never a straight line. Hence, you can see that road, right? We're always adapting. We're always pivoting. We're doing something. I will tell you that the reason why I joined the Navy and went to the Naval Academy, because I wanted to fly and I wanted to be an astronaut. Well, my eyesight went bad and I blew out my knee. So I was not physically qualified to be a pilot. And so what do? Your whole dream when I was a kid, that was my dream when I was in grade school, middle school, high school. That's what I really wanted to do. And it didn't happen. So it was all lost? No. You look at those opportunities in the midst of that event, you look at those opportunities and say, well, what can I do? What am I good at? And I ended up going to the Navy Supply Corps, did a wonderful experience there. That's how I met my wife and family, and, went around the world. You join the Navy to see the world. And, and then after that, and then another turn, it's like all of a sudden, next thing you know, I end up on an LHA or a small aircraft carrier. And now I'm combat systems. So now I'm not doing supply, right? So it's another turn of events. And then being hospitalized with COVID, and then recuperating from that, and then starting my own company, and then writing the book. The book I wrote in 5 weeks.
Wow, that's
from the time I was doing, after we got certified, and the whole program of getting certified as a coach, and doing the networking events. And I was actually in a networking event with authors and publishers. And they said, well, what do you do? I do this. The thing is, I have this idea about moving forward. Tell me about it. Perfect Publishing, Ken Rochon was the one I was talking to. And he said, I love that idea about moving forward. If you can get that to me in November, I publish it. And so took 5 weeks, published it, and put it out on Times Square. So
cool.
It can be done, right?
Yeah.
Moving one step at a time.
That's brilliant. Thanks for sharing that. This is your LinkedIn profile, Marsh. Mm-hmm. So if people want to find you there, hang on. I'm going to make it easier for those who have glasses like me. Get the right one here. There we go. So if you're interested in finding out, connecting, and hearing more about Marsh's world and his experience, and you want to take advantage of his assessment on his website, which we'll get to shortly, you'll be able to do that. But you can go on LinkedIn, connect with him, and add him to your network and see what he's up to. And the other one we want to go to, March, is right here's your address. I'm going to get the webpage up there. There's your webpage. And you can go up to this top area. Where's my mouse? It disappeared on me. Here it is. This area here. And click on that, and you can access your business growth score through March. Either one of us would be happy to help you with it. And look what it says there: uncovering possibilities and unlocking freedom for business leaders. Sounds really cool to me. And listening to him today, you'd be silly not to at least have a conversation with him or myself. But I think I'd hire him. Well, I wouldn't hire me, because then that defeats the purpose, right?
Well, I will tell you that I do appreciate the conversations that we had, especially too with your expertise too in positive intelligence, right? I think going down to that level, and we talked about looking at your kid, your picture as a child.
Yeah.
Right. And knowing how courageous you are and being comfortable with the uncomfortable. You just did things because when you were a kid, nothing stopped you. And I think life happens, and it all of a sudden puts stops on us. And I think we got to bring that mindset back to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and to try new things.
Yeah, like you were talking about that, we get programmed to say no to everything. And it's our automatic mechanism that's protecting us. And you were talking about people, they care about us. They might even love us. And they don't want us to go out and be hurt and be harmed, because they're seeing life through their eyes, not through our eyes. They don't have the same purpose, drive, and image that we do. Don't give up on them because they don't have your dream. just recognize where they're coming from.
Yes,
Love them anyway and pursue your dream
absolutely.
regardless.
Right. And I think that's the key, right? And then when they see eventually what happens is that they see that you are moving forward, and then they're going to go ahead and be your own their champions, right?
Yeah.
They're cheerleaders,
Yeah.
right? They say, yeah, keep going, because they do see it, that you are moving forward.
One of my mentors, hang on, here's the former military guy in his own right. He was a sniper in the Army, I believe. He's also an author, and he specialized in helping people be safe in living their life. Enjoy your life, but be aware of your surroundings and the people and what to do if you become somebody tries to lay harm on you. Alan Burris, really, I met him because of COVID. People say COVID was an awful thing. It wasn't a great thing. However, there were gifts within it. And one of the many gifts in it for me was meeting Alan.
Oh, wow. Great.
He's been a guest on the show as well. And he's an author. And Alan, thank you for being here, my friend.
Yeah, thank you for that there. Yes. Again, same thing. COVID happened. I was hospitalized. I had to recuperate. And because of that, it actually helped me reassess where I wanted to go, right? You have your vision board, you dream big. And then I said, by December 2022, I'd open my own company. Well, it happened in September. And then I told myself that, in 2024, I'd actually write my book. Well, then it happened in 2023, it just, boom, it happened. 2022, when I opened the company, just 5 weeks after I opened it, right? So it's there, right? You just have to take that step forward. And was it uncomfortable? You bet. Was it scary? Absolutely, because it's uncharted territory, right? The thing about the Navy, what I loved is that sometimes you are in uncharted territory.
Literally.
Right? And so what do? You're out there in the ocean blue and you have your sensors on and your lookouts, and you just keep moving forward. They call that term bear steerage away, when the ship is just barely moving. It's enough that the rudder angle's going. And sometimes when you're in fog and that you actually going very slow, but you are still moving forward.
Slow and steady.
Slow and steady.
Yeah, this has been brilliant. We're already at the end of the show, damn it.
Oh, man. I enjoy this there, Phil.
One last nugget you might want to depart upon our audience that may be watching today. Well, are some watching right now. And then those are watching on the replay.
Well, the one thing I want to say is that you have everybody here has some great talents. And just remember that you're here for a purpose. Dream big and take a step forward. Surround yourself with people who will help you move forward.
Yeah. Together, everyone achieves more. Had a brain fart there for a minute. I had two quotes going through my head at the same time. That's never a good thing when you don't have enough coffee. And I've only had one, so I better go get another one shortly after the show. Thank you again for being an esteemed guest on the show. I appreciate that. And
thank you.
I'll be talking to you in a moment, so don't go away.
Okay. Pleasure.
Well, that was an exciting ride, talking about purpose, talking about persistence, talking about never giving up. It's really an important aspect of it. His book, I think you should probably get a copy of that and find out even more about mastering your destiny through cool persistence. And I just want to end the show with one more thing, and that is this little plug here. The U is like that on purpose because it represents each and every one of us. We're all unique and we are truly wonderful. So go act like your wonderful, unique self. Until next time, I'm Coach Phil, and we'll see you on another episode of the Business Renovator.
I get shit done, I have fun. It's my time and I'm the one. Unbreaking.